So we're starting this. This is our first session of group coaching. I anticipate this will either continue to grow as we do it or it will shrink. Because as we do group coaching, this is going to be a weekly thing, and some of it's going to be centered around accountability, all right? And not the kind of accountability that people freak out about. It's like, oh God, accountability, that sounds terrible. I don't want to have to deal with it, that kind of thing. Because I'll tell you this much. I hired a coach probably 3 years ago. Now my wife coaches with her for our real estate team. And that coach brought, the biggest thing that coach brought to our business was accountability. I had a weekly phone call with her. Her name was Jody. I said, I want somebody who's tough, and I want a lady who's tough. That's what they gave me. Jody doesn't take crap from anybody, and she doesn't let me give excuses. And so she would say, great, that's awesome, but what are your goals? What are you hitting? What are your numbers? So we're going to talk a little bit about accountability. We're going to talk about tracking and converting today, but the whole purpose of group coaching is just to have a little bit of friendly accountability in a group setting, right? To help us keep pushing forward on our goals so we can hit what we need to hit. So speaking of goals, what I want you guys to do is take a minute or two right now and write down between now and the end of the year, how many more closings do you want to have? So let's call it mid-May, or heck, we can even round to June. So June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 7 more months before the end of the year. How many closings do you want to have before December 31st, 2018? Go ahead and take a minute to write that down. All right, John, what's your number?
50.
50? All right. You're gonna keep me busy in group coaching. Bob, how about you? 10. Brad? 14.
Well, I think I always shot.
You want to make any adjustments, or are you good with 50?
You know what? Let's move it to like 30.
Okay, we'll do
that.
that. This is a no judgment thing. This is a no judgment thing. Goals are different for everybody, right? And is it okay if you have a big goal and you don't hit it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. As long as it wasn't 0 that you hit, right? Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so we've got some goals, and then part of my job is going to be staying in touch with you guys and saying, hey, how you coming on your goal moving forward? That's what group coaching is all about. Here's what we find. As it relates to people's goals, if they're missing them or not quite hitting their goal, it's because of one of 3 things, or a combination of 3 things. Those 3 things are your mindset, the activities that you're doing or not doing, or your skill set. So if you look at yourself in your business right now, and here's your goal by the end of the year, or if you've had struggles so far toward hitting your goal, it's because of any one of these 3 things or a combination. What's your mindset? Are you telling yourself, do you have a self-fulfilling prophecy that it's too difficult, that business isn't out there, and that's why you're not hitting it? Is it an activities thing? Are you not doing the daily activities in terms of lead generation that you need to be doing to find business? Or is it a skill set thing? Do you have the mindset that you can do 50 deals? Are you making the calls? Are you doing the open houses, but you're not landing them? Well, then maybe it's a skill set thing. Maybe we have to work on your scripts. Maybe we have to work on how you're converting people. Maybe we have to work on your follow-up, right? What I love about this is I believe that 110%. If you're having issues, it's in these areas. And if you fix them, you can get back in line to achieving your goal. Mindset, we can teach you. We can get you squared away on that. The activities you have control over. You're going to have to do the activities. I can't force you to, right? And then that skill set, we'll train the crap out of you, and we'll make you a deadly salesperson if you come to the training and implement it, right? So these are the things that we're going to kind of focus on. And by knowing your goals, we can kind of have conversations that will hold you accountable to those goals. So the other 2 things I want to talk about initially before we dive into some other stuff are tracking and converting. Well, number 1, we've got to track our goal. If you don't know what our goal is and we're not writing it down and tracking our progress on our goal, then we really have no idea where we are in our business. So we have to track that, but what are some other things we need to, what would you say are the most important things that we need to track in our business? Tracking our goal, what else?
Number of appointments.
Okay, number of appointments, that's great. What else?
The marketing.
Say again?
Marketing, what's working, what's not.
Absolutely. So I would say I'm going to put results on marketing / advertising, and I'm going to relate that to the ROI on it as well. What's my return on this type of marketing? What's my return on this type of marketing? You want to know both the actual return dollar-wise, and then we want to just know, like, you know, what kind of, how many numbers of leads or business is it getting me, right? What else might we want to track? Tracking our goal, we're tracking our appointments, we're tracking the results of our marketing and advertising and the ROI.
Number of phone calls made per day.
Yeah, how about your number of contacts, right? And let me talk about this for a minute, because I sat in the chair, you know, not that long ago, going through trainings and stuff, and I was like, really, why? That seems like busy work. Why the hell would I need to track my appointments and my contacts daily? That's just, I don't have enough time for that. Why would I do that? Two reasons. Number one, when you start tracking this, you have a big aha moment and you realize, I'm not actually doing as much as I thought I was doing, right? Number two is it allows you to track your progress towards your goal, and then you can start calculating your conversion ratios, which will start telling you things like this. Okay, I know that I need to make X amount of contacts to set an appointment. Right? And once you have that kind of information, when you look at your goals, if I have a goal of doing 30 closings between now and the end of the year, and I know how many contacts I need to make to set the appointment, what can I then do? Hey, if I want 30 closings, I got to do 30. I probably have to do, maybe go on probably 40 to 45 appointments if I want to close 30, because I might have 10 or 15 of them that don't pan out this year. So if I need to do, 40 to 45 appointments, then I'll be able to know how many contacts I need to make in order to hit those appointments, which will allow me to hit the goal, right? So it seems trivial and stupid, but when you actually, this is the business part of it. This is the answer to the test. So the question might be, if I phrase it another way, if I'm Bob or I'm Jean or I'm Brad, what do I need to do on a daily basis to be able to close 10, 30, or 14 more deals by the end of the year? Well, I can tell you exactly what you need to do. You need to go on X amount of appointments, and to get X amount of appointments, you need to make X amount of contacts. Now, will these conversion ratios and numbers be different specific to you? Absolutely. That's why it's important that you track it, because your conversion ratio might be slightly different to yours, or might be slightly different to yours. Bob may do most of his business from complete strangers and for sale by owners, whereas Jean might be more referral based. Who do you think is going to have a higher conversion ratio? The referral-based business, right? So his number of contacts might be fewer than Bob's because their businesses just look a little bit different. That's why it's important to understand those numbers and source your business. So one homework assignment I'll give you between now and the end of this week is source your business. Meaning, determine where exactly your business came from. Did it come from my sphere, from my database, people that I knew? Did it come from open houses? Did it come from different types of marketing? Did it come from door knocking? Did it come from calling for sale by owners or expireds? Source the business. And then if you don't have a ton of business to source, the other thing you can do is say, okay, if I look at the different places my business can come from, what are the top 3 I think I should focus on? Your database and sphere should be number 1. And I would say, what are the 2 others, if you just grouped it, just have 3, what are the 2 other areas you think you should pinpoint and prioritize and focus on in addition to your database? We can track our GCI. That might be an important thing to track, right? Our gross commission income. I always ask people how many units they want to do. The other question, or another bigger question, is what do you want to make? Like, what do you want your GCI to be, right? Because that can sometimes drive it. I'm a units guy for whatever reason. I don't know why. I think it's because I know if I push my units up every year, I'm going to make more money, right? So that's how I look at it. So we can track our GCI, we're tracking our goal, appointments, results when it comes to marketing and advertising, our contacts, we're sourcing, we're tracking the sources of our business, right? I want to know where this came from. Website lead, phone call, database, referral. What's something else I can track? your pipeline. I would build a robust pipeline, and that needs to be where you live and breathe every day and tracking that. So your pipeline is, Brad, we were just talking about this. The people that have raised their hand and kind of said, hey, I want to do something, maybe not right now, but over the next few months, what system are you using to track that, right? Yeah, because that's what ties into, Brad. It ties into your follow-up, right? I can't tell you how many pieces of business I missed in my first few years because I lacked the follow-up. This is what happened. I had a group of people over here that wanted to do something now, and I had a group of people over here that wanted to do something kind of later. Who do you think got my focus?
Yeah.
The people that were now. Who do you think I missed out on? My laters. I focused on everybody now because they're immediate business. They needed my attention. I prioritized them. I knew they were going to turn into business. And by the time they closed them and they had time to go focus back on the later, what do you think had happened? They had either done something or somebody else had got them under contract, right? So what we need to do is systematize and manage our schedules in a way that allows us to focus on the nows without forgetting about the laters, because that's our future business. So number one, how am I tracking them so that I can stay in touch with them and make the phone calls weekly or monthly to keep that relationship alive, and or get them in for an appointment to get them to sign, right? Now, thankfully, I've got people that do that for me. But until then, I had to come up with a system that made sure, there's nothing more painful than following up with somebody a month later, or not even following up with them, but seeing on Facebook that you talked to them last month or 2 months ago, and then you see a post on Facebook where they closed on and bought a house. And then you call them up and you leave them an anonymous, nasty voice. No, I'm just kidding. You don't do that. But you're like, God, and at first you get mad at them, but then you realize whose fault is it? It's yours for not playing the follow-up game, right? If you have a robust pipeline, you're living in it, and you're following up consistently, that's going to dramatically help in terms of capturing some of those people that are a little further out. Yes, sir.
What's the simplest way to do that? Because what I was tracking is on that daily activity record that you gave us in my classes.
Yep.
Is go through that every day, and just at the end of the day,
yeah,
put that in your calendar.
Absolutely.
On your phone or whatever to keep.
Yep. Go. So I'll give you a couple examples. So if I talk to somebody and it kind of because sometimes you catch people, hey, Zach, I appreciate the call. You just caught me at a bad time. I got this going on. I got a graduation for my kid this week, or there's a funeral I got to get to. Can we touch base sometime next week? Absolutely. And I'll say, I'll call you this day next week. And then in my calendar, I go in there and I book it just like an appointment. I book my follow-up in there, whatever time, say 9 a.m. and it says follow up with so-and-so. You schedule it in there so that when you come in on that day, it's on your calendar and you remind yourself, I got to call this person and follow up. And then you put whatever notes you have in the system that's tracking your pipeline. We use gosh, of course it's going to elude me right now. So a Google spreadsheet is good. It's just a living, breathing document you can keep. I use a Google spreadsheet. I use a couple actually. And then there's an add-on for Gmail. It will come to me, but it's our pipeline tracker. Let me text Kelly right now. She'll be able to tell me. I'm gonna call her real fast. Otherwise, I'll forget to tell you guys. It's a free add-on that you add to your Gmail, and it will allow you to track everything right in there.
Kelly.
Hey Kelly, can you do me a quick favor? What is the thing that we use to track our pipeline in Gmail? What's that add-on called?
Streak.
Google Streak. Awesome, thank you. Streak.
Yep.
Yep. All right. John, I'm not telling you to go streaking. That is not a good way to find business. But it's called Google Streak. Download it. It's free. It syncs right with your Gmail. You can build out your pipelines. And what's cool about it is we use Streak for a few different pipelines, because if you're really tracking at a high level and you value customer service, not only are you tracking the people you need to follow up with, you're also tracking your current deals and where they are in the process, and you're also tracking your post-closing follow-up. So I won't spend a ton of time talking on this today, because we're just diving into this, but I track three things. I want to know who's in the pipeline that we need to sign a contract with to start a working relationship. I want to know who's in my pipeline that's under contract on a property and where they are. Have we made an offer? Have we negotiated? Has the inspection occurred yet? Is the appraisal done? Is title been informed? Do we have a commitment letter? Are we set to close? That's a whole other process that needs to get tracked, right? And then the other thing I like to track is after closing, what are we doing? It's a week after closing. Have we got our review from them yet? Have we received our testimonial? Have we sent out the invites for their housewarming party? Have we sent them a thank you? Have we done the anniversary check-in? You know what I mean? So this process, this is a tracking systems beast, and that's how you build this momentum for your business. So those are the three things I would highly recommend you focus on tracking. What's my follow-up to convert people? Once they're converted and I have them under contract, what am I tracking that process and my post-closing? This isn't meant to freak you out and be like, oh my God, this is a ton of busy work. You can streamline it using something like Google Street. But when you do this stuff, you're gonna find it just takes you and your business to a whole nother level because you've got way more visibility on what it is that you should be tracking. So I had pulled up here. This is what we track weekly on my team. And Bob, is this what you were referencing, that thing I sent out? Or maybe a little bit different? The tracking sheet? So I track.
This one? Yeah, the guy came.
Oh, okay, that's a little different. Let me see.
The one guy came in talking to us.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, perfect. Oh, that's a good one. For your daily lead generation. So this is at a high level on a weekly basis. This is what I track. This is what Kelly, the gal who I just called, my operations gal, sends me. It's things like this. New close this week. What's our current pending? How many and by name? New pending from last week. New accepted offers, outstanding offers, offers that are currently being negotiated or going through inspection. Who are our clients that are actively looking? The number, and then by name. Total, here's an interesting number you should track for yourself. Total buyer reps signed without a house under contract. We have 17 right now current buyer contracts signed, but they're not under contract on a home. Why is that an important, relevant number to track? Get more follow-up. Because those are the people that we should be following up with. And what is that? What are those people? That's all my later business. That's all my later business. If I look at these names every single week and I'm tracking who they are, do you think I have a greater chance of them staying on the radar and me actually converting them rather than losing them? And guess what? It's Kelly's job to check in with all these people weekly. They get a phone call from us. We're not going to lose them. They're already signed, right? So let me ask you this question. If your goal was to close 10, 30, or 14 more deals by the end of the year, and you were tracking that you already had 14 buyer rep contracts signed in the pipeline, just not under contract yet, how do you feel about hitting your goal toward the end of the year? Pretty freaking good, right? The power that brings to you and your business is huge. You just need to make that your goal. Your first and initial goal is just how many contracts can I sign with people? Get them under contract. Then once they're under contract, then you focus on now let's get them in a house, right? Because for some people, their timelines are going to be different. Let's see. New buyer contracts, new listing contracts, total active listings, listing contracts signed but not on the market yet. We've got at least one of those. That's kind of like a buyer contract that's signed but not the house isn't under contract yet. Doesn't mean know how many listings I have coming. Pending GCI total. We break it down by team. Closed GCI just for last week. Pending GCI, all that fun stuff. So far this year, our closed volume is 2.4 million. Our pending volume is 3 million. So I know right now I've got 3 million in pending volume. How do you think I feel about the business right now? Good. We're doing good. Actually, that's business that's spoken for, right? So great. It's kind of my team probably feels bad sometimes because I'm like, you guys have 3 million pending volume. Great. What's next? Right? Because that's already done. We need to continue to build that pipeline. There's so many of us in our business, we're only looking a foot in front of us. Who's my current client I'm working with? We need to learn how to evolve beyond looking at just the business in front of us to the business 3 to 6 months down the road, because that's how we continue to survive and we don't have this ebb and flow, right? And then I like to track my total closed volume, units closed, pending, and then my total units between closed and pending. I track my my pending GCI as well, just because then I know what's coming down the pipeline. And I kind of have a number on this tracker that I like to see pending GCI at or above. And if it ever gets below that, that's when I'm kind of, all right, guys, what are we doing? Who can we focus on? Who can we convert right now? Because if that pending GCI gets below a certain amount, I start to get a little bit uneasy, right? So I would highly recommend you start building some of this tracking into what you're doing, if not on a daily basis, at least weekly. At least weekly, do a little bit of a roll up, because what it lets you do is put your hand on the pulse of your business, right? Otherwise, you're just kind of like, well, I feel like, or I think we're doing good, or I feel like I think we're not doing so good. But when you can look at those numbers and you're doing some forecasting, it really gives you an idea of where your business is and helps you realize what activities do I need to focus on to drive the changes I want to see in my business, or to sustain what it is I'm achieving in my business to keep me on track with my goal. Does any of that stuff help, or is it just too much?
Makes sense, but it's a little bit too much.
That's
but it
okay.
Makes sense.
That's okay.
This is a grow into.
Yeah, baby steps. Like at least to start getting you thinking that way, right? The other thing I want to talk about. So we talked goals, and some of this we're gonna, accountability is something we'll have moving forward. So the next thing we need to talk about is converting. So Brad, share with me that example that you mentioned earlier.
Okay, well, I sold cars for 11 years, and I've got a database of everybody I sold cars to. This gentleman, I wrote a little bit down about every person. This person came back from the Marines with his dad, just got to town, needed a truck. So I called him up, I reviewed that, I called him up, and I go, hey, this is Brad, I don't know if you remember me, I sold you a truck about 3 years ago. And he said, nah, that was a bad truck. It broke down, and I got a different truck now. And I was just kind of thrown off for a little bit. I go, well, just to let you know, I'm now in real estate, so if you know of anyone looking to buy or sell, I'd appreciate if you get them in touch with me. He says, well, that'd be great, because I need to buy a house in the next month.
Which is phenomenal.
I almost fell off my chair, and I'm like, whoa, well, we can get together, and I can show you this website that I have that we can look at houses and things like that. And he's at work at the time, and so instead of pushing that appointment, I said, well, if I don't hear from you in the next couple of weeks, I'll call you. Is that all right? He said that'd be fine. Maybe he needed a little bit of room there, but at that point, I probably should have said, can we make a tentative appointment for next week? Yeah. Or tomorrow, or whenever. He works in town here.
Yep. So let's role play that, Brad. We're going to role play that phone call, and then we're going to role play a call you can make to him today to set the appointment.
Okay.
If you choose to. So what's this guy's name?
I can't.
Should we call him Mike?
Let's call him Mike.
Let's call him Mike. So I'm going to call you. You're Mike, and you're going to kind of tell me. We're going to go through that, and then I'll take it from there. So ring, ring. Hello. Hey, Mike. This is Zach. We worked together in the past. Helped you buy a truck. How you doing these days?
Good. That truck broke down. It was not a very good truck, and I had to buy another one.
God, I'm sorry to hear that. Sometimes it's just a roll of the dice on vehicles. But what the purpose of my phone call actually is to tell you and just share with you that I recently started a career in real estate over at Keller Williams and helping people buy and sell homes these days.
Oh, that's awesome. Actually, I'm in the market to buy a house here. I wanted to get going on it the next month.
Mike, that's awesome. You got to be kidding me. It sounds like I called you for a reason. Here's what I'd love to do. I know you're a busy guy, but I'd love to schedule an appointment with you, have you come into the office so I could talk to you about the process, help you find some homes, and help you be successful in the next month in terms of finding a house. Would that be helpful for you?
That would be helpful.
Awesome. And then you go into scheduling the appointment. So it's not much, but I guarantee that would probably work for you, that scenario, because you already have that little bit of a relationship with them.
I told him to come in and I can educate you on how the process works.
Absolutely.
He's a young kid, and he goes, that'd be great.
Perfect. So here's what I would do today. So
What's his phone number?
I'm going to call you again, and this is going to be real life. Did you just talk to him yesterday?
This was Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay, so ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Mike, it's Zach over at Keller Williams calling you back again. How are you?
Good.
Hey, I was thinking about the conversation we had on Tuesday, and I tell you what, the homes for sale in the market right now, they're just flying off the shelf, and there's a lot of talk of interest rates potentially creeping up. Mike, here's what I'd love to do. Why don't you come on into the office? Let's have a conversation to help you formulate a game plan that will allow you to be successful so that you can do something sooner rather than later if you choose to, before the market gets any crazier or the interest rates go up any higher. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Great, and then book them for an appointment.
So you give them an out and say, you can come in now, but if you don't want to, we'll come in, we'll talk, but if you don't want to move right away, we can go slow.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And here's the deal. If he comes back, so give me some pushback and be like, well, I might be a little bit further out. So come on in, we'd love to help you out.
Okay, no, I probably can't do that right away.
Okay.
In the future, I would probably.
Sure. Well, Mike, let me tell you, here's the deal. It's not a pressure thing. I want you to move at the pace that you're comfortable with. Really, it's just a chance for us to, number one, answer any questions you might have, educate you about what's going on in the market, in the process, and help you formulate a game plan. If that means it's 3 or 4 months from now, that's completely fine. But what's helpful, usually for most people, is to come in and at least start getting the information they need to start lining things up so that 3 or 4 months from now, you can find yourself in a home. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Good. It's just helping them realize, just like most things in life, come on in, I'm not going to pressure you. Let's just come up with a plan.
Would you also say at this time, by the way, like you don't pay me anything?
Good.
Or do you wait till he comes in to say that when he's going to sign?
I typically do that at the consult, but if this is someone you can say, here's the deal, dude, come on in. I work for you for free when you're buying a home. This isn't a weird pressure thing. Let's just talk about the process. Let me do you a favor so that you know what you'll be getting into. And honestly, you're going to want to know that sooner rather than later, because there's a bunch of stuff you need to start right now if you want to be in a home 2 to 3 months from now, like getting pre-approved and all that fun stuff. Just come in and learn about it. How's that sound?
That sounds
right. So really focus on getting them into that appointment, because here's the deal. If you wait to follow up 2 weeks, what could happen?
He could talk to somebody else. Somebody else could call
He's going to
him.
go through Zhang's open house this weekend, and Zhang's going to use the same script to set an appointment, right? Or he could go, or Bob might door knock him, right? So what we need to do, and why we say that all the contacts are focused on an appointment, if it makes sense. Now, if Mike says to me, hey, Brad, that's awesome. It's good to catch up with you. The truck's been great. I'm super excited to hear that you're starting a career in real estate. Awesome. Hey, while we're on the topic, have you ever thought about buying or selling anytime soon? Brad, to be honest with you, we just bought a place, a year ago. We're probably going to be where we are for a while. Hey, that's awesome. Good for you. Could you do me a huge favor? If you come across people that could use my help, would you put me in touch with them? I'd love to take great care of them. I'm not going to go for an appointment with somebody if they have no need for an appointment, right? So don't push it. But if somebody says we're kind of looking or we're thinking about doing something, I would go even out to a year. Great, we need to set an appointment because that process needs to start right now. Because when they come in for the appointment, what do? We sign them. So if he comes in and signs tomorrow and then he goes out on an open house, are you a little bit safer?
A little safer, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's the whole point of getting them in for that appointment, right? Because I guarantee you, you might know some people, but if they come across me, even if I just get them on the phone, I'm going to get them in for an appointment. I'm probably going to sign them. You're going to be SOL at that point. So make that call today, would you? Okay. Let's see what happens.
I will.
Awesome. Okay, so I wanted Brad to share that story just because we can talk about good, skillful ways to convert. So like you're at an opportunity right now where you can go through your database, everybody that you know, and make this kind of a phone call. Hey, so-and-so, this is Zhang. How are you? Just calling to let you know I'm super excited. Recently started a career in real estate over at Keller Williams, helping people buy and sell properties. Just want to let you know in case you could use my help. Probably going to say what? No, I'm good right now, but thank you. In which case you go straight into my referral script. Hey, that's awesome. No worries. I can appreciate that. Could you do me a huge favor? If you come across people that could use my help, please put me in touch. I promise to take great care. Right? Planting those referral seeds. Right? And those are phone calls that you need to make consistently, ideally at a minimum once a quarter. After you make those phone calls, I'd hit them with an email. Hey, it was great to catch up. Just a reminder, blah, blah, blah. Here's my website if you ever want to look at homes or share with people, that kind of thing. Like you're about to say something.
The contact management system, I was a little frustrated with it.
Okay.
So I met with Mel.
Okay.
And we kind of talked it over, and she kind of did some research for me. And
sure.
What I was frustrated about is I have like about 1,000 contacts. Yep. If I go down and I click on somebody to see my notes and everything about them, because that's what I want to see before I call them.
Yep.
Then it puts me back at the top again.
Oh, really?
Every time.
Okay.
So she did some research, found out if you press control, if you click on that contact and hold in the control button, it'll just make a new window.
Ah, okay.
And
So just pop them out.
Yeah,
and then you
so
go
I
right
put
back.
my 10 phone calls right
Okay,
up there and then
perfect.
hit them one after another. And another thing is, if you click on that contact without pressing control, it brings up a whole page of where, like, if there's a white pages,
Just that contact.
Facebook,
Yep.
everything. And then as I'm calling people, I'm befriending them on Facebook. Perfect. At the same time and finding out their new information.
Perfect.
Their new email, all that, whatever I can get to update the contact. And it turns out that contact management system is phenomenal.
Right.
Just didn't know how to use it properly.
Okay, that's a good
Is
takeaway.
that one of the ones that we have in our?
That's E-Edge.
That's, yeah.
Yes,
What's that called?
E-Edge.
E-Edge.
Yep. It's, it probably looks like that. Got a little E that says Edge. That's in it. It's linked and feeds directly to your website as well. So if somebody registers on your website, they're automatically input into E-Edge. If you enter somebody into .loop for contacting and signing, they're automatically put into your E-Edge database. And then from your E-Edge database, you can put people on your campaigns, 33 touch campaigns, 12 by 12, all that fun stuff. Because this is a database game. Don't do what I did, which is the first few years. Number one, I didn't know that. Nobody told me. I was kind of resistant to it. But if you start off right now building that database and working that database, it's gonna do wonders for you. That's what we do now in our businesses through the roof. We're probably about 80% repeat referral business, which is a great place to be. And then the other 20%, we get them in, we close them, and what do they become a part of? They become a part of that 80%. They're referring and repeating business with us. So,
And you see some of these people and I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to this guy in 3-4 years. Should I just go to the next one?
right.
No, I'm gonna call this guy.
You just gotta do
Boom, that's the one that was the best.
Yeah, look at
So
that.
telling yourself, drunk monkey on my shoulder telling me, oh, I don't need to call this person. They didn't like me that much.
Right.
You know, it's been years. I haven't talked to, they're gonna be wondering who I'm calling and everything. And it turns out he needs to buy a house.
You'd be surprised. You'd be
I call
surprised.
everybody.
Yeah, you really do. Because what's the worst that can happen?
They hang up on you.
Right, they hang up on you, or they just say, hey, Brad, yeah, thanks for the call, but no, nothing comes to mind anymore right now. Fine, no big deal. On to the next one. Right, even if they do hang up on you. Okay, big deal. On to the next one.
Text them.
Right, it's a numbers game. Yeah.
Then email them.
Text them. Send them a video. That means you're just one more closer. You're just one more contact closer to the one that is going to convert. Right. It is a numbers game. It's all about contacts, setting the appointment, and then tracking it in your pipeline and converting them.
If they, when you have sent them emails and they unsubscribe from you,
Sure.
you quit that.
No, I might still call them or text them on occasion, or I'll probably at least just send them a monthly newsletter, but I won't have it come from my database. I won't have it come from my campaign system. I'll email it directly in like a mass email, so they can't unsubscribe. They just get it. Because you might not get everybody with email, but you will, even if you just leave a voicemail or just shoot them a text, you will get everybody by phone if you have a good number for them. Or you might send something to their actual home once a month or twice a year or something, just as a subtle reminder. Connect them on Facebook, right? You do a great job already posting pictures with your clients when you close. They're going to see that, right? It's all these subtle reminders that you're thinking.
I had another agent, a friend of mine, that she goes, boy, it looks like you just.
I'll tell you, and this is this is true for better and for worse in real estate, and that is that perception is reality. Right? Perception is reality, and this perception, a lot of that game is played on social media, right? It's all about perception, because if you're posting pictures about, yeah, I sold this house after it'd been listed for X amount of days and we got it sold, boom, I just helped this person close, boom, I just helped this person close. That's all they're seeing, that's their perception, that becomes their reality. My perception is Brad's out there busy, he's closing stuff, he's got happy clients. That becomes their reality. Their reality is, hey, Brad's an agent out there kicking ass. I should probably work with that dude.
You can do more than one picture with the same person.
Absolutely,
Times like
absolutely. And you're having a customer appreciation event on top of it, right? Holy smokes, this guy is cooking. got to be very strategic about what it is you're doing. And where did you learn, or how did you come up with those ideas to do that, Brad?
From the ninth class that we had.
From the training that said, hey, these are probably some things you should do, right? So keep that in mind when you're doing that. Bob, you do a great, you're always posting stuff on social media too that's a little bit humorous. I like it, right? Just subtly reminding people that you're in the business. But the more you can do with, like even Red Day, like you could leverage, if you were at Red Day yesterday, you can leverage that, say, hey, it was so good to be out in the community helping, blah, 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 blah. Love being a real estate agent, helping my clients and giving back to the community. That's a twofold message. Number one, a reminder that you're a real estate agent and they should use you. Number two, that you give back, right? So anything you can do, you want to leverage on social media because people's perception becomes a reality, right? That's why we post everybody we close with, we post a picture. Because if you get into the habit of seeing Team Lucky Duck post 4, 5, 6 times a month about a closing, what's your quick takeaway on that team? Pretty good. Holy crap. That team, they do pretty good business. They must know what they're doing. Their clients always look happy. I should probably give them a call. And more people reach out to us via Facebook Messenger than any other means because we're connected with them. That's where they see our activity, and that's where they feel comfortable reaching out to us. And then it's just a quick response. Oh my God, yeah, we'd love to help you. What's a good email address? And then I take it over to email. So I think for today's session, this is good for now, but what I'd like to do is take a minute, and what I would like to know from each of you, and this gets back to the coaching and accountability thing, because this will be a weekly thing, and this is not a gotcha, this isn't to make you feel uncomfortable, this is just to help us move the dial. I would like to know from each of you how many contacts you anticipate making between now and when we meet again next Friday, and then how many contracts you want to have signed, whether it's a listing agreement or a buyer representation agreement, and if you think you're going to put anything under contract. And if it's 0, that's fine. This is literally day 1. We're just starting this, right? But you should still be able to let me know how many contacts you'd like to make, right? So the numbers I'm looking for are number of contacts in a week, number of buyers signed, meaning a buyer rep contract, number listing signed, meaning you listed a property, and then number pending, meaning you got a purchase agreement accepted, whether it was a buyer or a listing. Take 60 seconds, think about it. Again, this is a no judgment thing. If you're looking at your business and you're like, I don't foresee anything happening in the next week, that's fine. Focus on your contacts. John, are you ready?
Yes,
What do you got for contacts?
100,
Very good. What do you got for buyers signed?
1,
What do you got for listing?
0,
What do you got for pendings?
1.
Good. Is that one that we're working on?
That one we're working on.
I like it. Brad, how about you?
I got 50,
Okay.
a minimum of 50 contacts.
Okay.
3 buyers signed,
Nice.
one listing signed,
Okay.
and I don't have anything pending right now.
Okay. Do you think you'll have any pending between now and next week? It's okay if it's a
Pending as far as,
meaning you have an accepted purchase agreement.
okay, yeah, probably 0 at that.
Okay.
Next Friday, I would say 0, but
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
That's okay. We'll keep it at 0 for now. Mr. Bob?
25 contacts,
Very good.
1 buyer signed,
Awesome.
and 0 probably by next week, and
Okay.
0 pending.
Okay. But if you get that buyer signed, that means in the week or 2 after, we can hopefully keep that pending report. Awesome. So what I'm going to do with whatever group is in here coaching, I'm going to track this stuff, and then we'll start each session just to say, hey, give me a quick update. Your goal was this, this, and this. How'd you do? And it's not to be like, oh my God, you said you were going to do, 100 contacts and you only did 37. You suck. No, that's not the case. It's great. How are you doing? What are you doing? Are we focusing on these things to keep moving the dial forward? And believe it or not, when you tell me, hey, I'm going to get 3 buyers signed, and you just share that with everybody, does it make it a little bit more real? Yeah. Like, man, I better go get those 3 buyers signed. If you come back and say you signed 2, is that a huge victory? Absolutely. Absolutely. So thanks for being here, guys. Now's the time to crush it, and we're going to make it happen. If you have questions, let me know.
Got a question.
Let's do it. Shoot right now.
So lately I've been doing the 10-4, and to make myself do it,
Good.
mark them on my calendar.
Okay, good.
Mark off the calendar. My wife said, what's that? These are the calls I make every day. Make sure you see that on the calendar.
Good.
So if you force yourself to do maybe 20 instead of 10, are they less quality, do you think? I mean,
In terms of contacts?
yeah.
No,
Why is it number 10?
the reason we put 10 is because it's based on our math. We know if you had a minimum or making 50 contacts a week, what kind of business you can expect to do. We know you'll make a good living. Bold, we double it to 100 because we know if you're making 100 contacts per week, you're gonna blow it out of the water. If you're doing that consistently every work week for a year, you'll probably, if you do this, if you do 100 contacts a week per week, my humble opinion, you will probably have no problem doing a volume of 5 million in your first 1 to 2 years.
When I say 100, I mean, is that one-on-one? Because I have a.
It's not an appointment. It
Yep.
means
You just
either
reach out to-
either face-to-face or voice-to-voice, you have some sort of conversation about real estate and either asking them for business or asking for referrals. So let me give you an example. I call you up and say, hey, John, this is Zach. Starting my new career in real estate, blah, blah, blah. Would love to be able to help you. Does anybody come to mind right now that can use my help? That's a contact, right? Let's say I'm at a social thing over the weekend. I run into Brad. Hey, Brad, how you doing, man? What's up with you? Blah, blah, blah. No, I'm doing great. Zach, what's up with you? Well, I just started a career in real estate, by the way. If you come across anybody, let me know. I'd love to take great care of you. Here's my card. That's a contact, right? Now you can get a little. That's like by bold standards. Now, if you want to text back and forth with somebody and you ask the question, hey, do you know of anybody right now? And they answer you back, whatever, I would count that as a contact, or if you're messaging somebody, but you have to do the ask. You can't just send a text or a message out there and get no response and count that as a contact, right? Same with email. It has to be some dialogue in which you ask that question and get a response. If you want to have valuable contacts. Like I can't mass email 1,000 people in 1 minute and say I made 1,000 contacts, right? Yes, Bob.
I don't know if you heard the story, but the text, that was the wrong number and
Share that
I
one.
don't remember the whole thing was with Jacob.
Yeah.
Did him tell you? He was texting, supposedly a friend of his, he got the wrong number and started texting back and forth and ended up getting an appointment with the wrong person.
Right.
So even if you get the wrong number, you can still come out ahead as a customer.
There was a story I heard from a guy a while back. This was a long time ago. The sign company put the for sale sign in the wrong yard. So the guy called him up and said, hey, why do you have a sale sign in my yard? I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We put it in the wrong yard. He said, that's okay. I'm looking to sell my house anyway. Can we have a conversation? I was like, are you freaking kidding? That never happens to me.
Be right over.
You're gonna get in trouble for I'll get in trouble.
Right. I'm gonna call the sign company. Do me a favor. I want you to put signs in every yard in Rochester. I'll just tell people it was on accident. Right. At least we'll start a conversation. Awesome. Make sure you write these down or have them on hand. I'll see you guys next week and let's make it happen. All right. Appreciate it.
You go out on the printer, I print it out.